or 650,000 people total, the highest numbers of homeless people seen anywhere on the continent. And Ireland not only has the highest rate of cancer in Europe, but she also has the highest rate of cystic fibrosis anywhere in the world.
Ireland, why is that? Is there a whole bunch of industry going on there? I don't know why. I mean, when I was there when I was a kid, I loved it. I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was great. Why is that rate so high there? Hello and welcome back. Today I'm going to be watching and reacting to what every country in Europe is worst at. This is a part one. We'll see if we do part two. We'll see what countries these cover and see what is the worst of every country. What are they worst at? So it should be interesting and cause some conflict. So keep the comments as civil as possible. And also, let me know if these are true, at least in the countries that you have been or you've heard of. I want to hear stories about these, or this is why they say this is the worst country or the country that did worst at this. Whatever it is, I want to hear about it and why. I want to get into the discussion about that. Try to keep it civil. This is, I don't know if it's for fun. I don't know how serious they are. I don't know what's going on with this, but let's jump in. Let's see what they have to say. And we'll go from there. We will go from there. Let's see what every country is worst at.
Every country in the world is best and worst at something, but in this video, we're going to focus exclusively on what every European country is worst at in Europe specifically. A quick disclaimer before I begin though, I wasn't able to find anything that either Austria or Slovenia was the absolute
Slovenia, I don't know. Austria, world wars. They're the worst at not starting world wars. Does that make sense? I don't know. Let me know.
worst at. So if you live in either of those countries, I'm sorry to disappoint you with the bad news.
Austria.
Anyway, let's move on to part one of this list with all the European countries between A and K, which begins with Albania, which is the country most likely to experience a natural disaster in Europe. Albania also has the lowest amount of doctors per capita in Europe. It's literally the only country in Europe to have never received a McDonald's, and it's the country that contributes the least to science in Europe, only publishing one scientific paper per 15,000 people in the country. And
okay, we'll start with that. I'm not going to pause it much. I just want to see, that was kind of like a preview of what we're about to get, but that was pretty bad. Most natural disasters, least amount of doctors per capita, no scientific papers, I mean, very few that are going out of this country already. How do we follow this? How do we follow this? What are the other countries like?
Andorra is the largest country in the world that doesn't have an airport, and it also has the world's worst smoking problem. The average Andorran smokes 6,398 cigarettes a year, which is more than 17 every single day. Maybe it's for the best that they don't have an airport after all, because every smoke detector in a mile radius would be getting tampered with. Armenia has the least powerful passport found anywhere in Europe, with only 20 countries in the world giving them visa-free travel, and they're also ranked as the most militarized society in Europe. I couldn't find anything for Austria, so great going there, guys. If you know something Austrians are the worst at, then please leave a comment.
Follow up with this. What do you say about Austria? Maybe they're in the comments, I'll go over them after this, but what do you think Austria, what have you heard of Austria? What's bad, or what are they worst at? Let me know.
Next up is Azerbaijan, which has Europe's highest infant mortality rate, at over 2% of children dying before the age of 5. They also have Europe's lowest rate of vehicle ownership at only 145 cars per 1,000 people in the country, and the lowest freedom of the press found anywhere on the continent. Belarus, as per usual, has a lot of problems. So here's the gist. They're the only country in Europe that maintains the death penalty, with 4 executions taking place last year, which means that by default, they have the highest execution rate in Europe. They have the highest proportion of people living in modern slavery anywhere in Europe and anywhere in the world outside of Asia or Africa at 11 slaves for every 1,000 people. Belarus is also the least democratic and the most authoritarian country in Europe.
So modern slavery, I was just watching a video on Dubai, and it's kind of like discussing modern slavery. Just people get stuck there on visas, whatever. They pull people to their country, and then they work for such cheap rates that they can never really leave or send their family money. Is it along those lines, do you know? Because that is a lot. 11 people per 1,000 are in modern slavery. Is that what it means? And if not, or if you can add on, please let me know, because that is crazy. The death penalty one, it's not too surprising for me because we have the death penalty here, at least in certain states. It goes by states. I think most states, the mass majority of states, don't have the death penalty, but a few do.
And has the lowest amount of renewable energy production in Europe at just 1.2% of their total production.
Ooh.
That being said, it should come as no surprise that Belarus also has the highest consumption of pure alcohol anywhere in the world, with the average person drinking 17.6 liters a year, which is more than one shot every day and nearly double the amount of alcohol that Americans consume. Belgium has arguably been hurt the hardest by the coronavirus pandemic out of any other country.
Surprised.
Because as of this video, they currently have the highest coronavirus death rate in the entire world, at 962 deaths per million in population. Bosnia and Herzegovina has the world's worst landmine contamination problem, with over 2.2% of their land being covered in active minefields. And they also have the worst air quality score in Europe. Bulgaria has the worst population decline in Europe and potentially the entire world. Since 1990, Bulgaria has lost 23% of her population, and the UN expects that she will lose another 23% by 2050.
Why is this? Why? I know I'm stopping way too much. Every one of these I do want to stop, but I'm forcing myself not to, so I'm sorry. It's probably going to continue, but why is the population declining? I feel like in general, what I've always heard of and known is Eastern Europe, you know, even those old Soviet states are kind of in decline or not really growing nearly as much. Just everything is kind of just dampened there a little bit. Kind of like an example of, you know, Berlin, or just like East Berlin, West Berlin. The differences between those two is kind of like the difference between countries of Europe to Eastern Europe to Western Europe. I've heard one explanation for this would be the people that are, you know, going to college, going out to school, or get a good job. They have, you know, a good skill set. They will move to where the money is. They'll go to Eastern Europe. They'll go to Germany or somewhere else that pays them the money. You know, of course you would. And especially if your family stays there in Bulgaria or whatever country it is, they're going to send money back. They might go, you know, somewhere in the UK. I know Germany pays well. I don't even know how France does with their economy, but yeah, that's one explanation that I've heard.
Bulgaria is the poorest country in the EU, and most of her population decline can be attributed to people moving to other, more prosperous EU member states. Croatia has the lowest volume of railroad passengers of any country measured in Europe, but to be fair, not every country in Europe got measured in this report. Cyprus has the slowest average internet speed of any European country at just 6.9 megabits per second, which is 3 times slower speeds than seen in Norway. Further, Cyprus is also the European country with the highest percentage of claimed land under occupation, 40%, which is occupied by both the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus and the United Nations. Czechia has the highest consumption of beer per capita in the world, even more than Belarus. The average Czech drinks 149 liters of beer every year. According to a report by Internations, Denmark is the hardest country in Europe to make friends in, especially for expats moving into the country. Estonia is home to Europe's largest gender pay gap, where men in the country earn wages that are 26% higher than women do on average. Estonia is also the least religious country in the entire world, with 84% of the population saying that religion is not important to their lives. According to a report by the Oxford University Press back from 2009, Finland suffers from the highest rate of depression anywhere in Europe, with approximately 7% of the adult population. Ironically, Finland was also just rated as the world's happiest happiest country by the World Happiness Report. France has the highest number of
Why
active
is
land
that?
disputes with other countries. They currently have border disputes across the world with Madagascar, Comoros, Mauritius, Vanuatu, Italy, the Netherlands, and Suriname. They also have Europe's largest dependency ratio, meaning the largest percentage of the population that are either children or elderly, meaning that France has the largest strain on their social support system anywhere in Europe. Georgia is home to Europe's worst level of income inequality and has the largest number of breakaway states, 2, which are Abkhazia and South Ossetia. Germany is home to the worst homeless crisis in Europe. 79 out of 10,000 people in the country are homeless, or 650,000 people total, the highest numbers of homeless people seen anywhere on the continent.
Once again, why is this in Germany? I always think, and if people here always think that Germany is so well off, they're prosperous, they kind of carry the EU on their back in a way. They are, they're a powerhouse there. There's no denying that. So much money, but I guess in a lot of ways, it's kind of like here. It's the number one economy, the U.S. in the world. And we have especially in California. California alone is something like the 5th largest economy in the world, just the state alone. And we have huge, huge populations of homelessness and a lot of other issues. The infrastructure is iffy at times and things are outdated. So I wonder if this is the same in Germany.
Though to be fair, 375,000, or over 57% of those people, are refugees from other countries. Unlike Andorra, Greece has the highest percentage of the population that regularly smokes cigarettes in Europe, and the 3rd highest anywhere in the world. 42.4% of the Greek population over 15 regularly smokes cigarettes. Greece also has the worst debt crisis anywhere in Europe and the 2nd worst anywhere in the world, with a debt to GDP ratio of 180%. Not only that, but Greece was also ranked as the least generous or charitable nation in Europe and the 4th least in the entire world by the World Giving Index.
Yeah, I mean, of course you would be. Support your own nation, your own people first before giving money away. I mean, yeah, that's ever since, and probably way before the Great Recession, as some call it, the recession of 2008, 2009. They were stuck between a rock and a hard place, and that's probably generous as well. Maybe they're just stuck. They're just stuck. I don't know.
Hungary is home to the highest sales tax seen anywhere in Europe, with a standard rate of 27% for most goods and services. Iceland has the highest consumption of cannabis products in Europe, with over 18% of the population who regularly participate. Although, you could argue this is what she is actually best at, not worst at. Iceland also gets the least amount of sunshine in Europe, with less than 1,200 hours a year. She is Europe's least densely populated country, and she has the least amount of land that's suitable for agriculture, at only 0.07%. The other island that starts with an I in Europe is Ireland, and Ireland not only has the highest rate of cancer in Europe, but she also has the highest rate of cystic fibrosis anywhere in the world.
Ireland, why is that? Is there a whole bunch of industry going on there? I don't know why. I mean, when I was there when I was a kid, I loved it. I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was great. Why is that rate so high there?
Italy has the lowest college graduation rate on the continent, with only 17% of their population over 25 actually holding a degree. According to the Cultural Diversity Index, Italy is also the least culturally diverse country in Europe, tied with Portugal. And Italy also has Europe's slowest GDP growth rate, with only a 0.3% increase in 2019.
And that's only going to get absolutely hammered from the pandemic. That's because their economy is really heavily, and I think France too. I mean, they're like some of the most visited places in the world. yeah, they took a hit really bad.
Most people don't really think of Kazakhstan as being in Europe, but there is a tiny amount of territory in Europe right here. So it's still technically in Europe, and so I'm still including them in this video. Kazakhstan has the highest amount of underage smokers in Europe, with 4% of boys and 2% of girls participating. And according to the Best Countries Index, Kazakhstan has the least amount of cultural influence for any country with land in Europe. I guess Borat just wasn't enough for people. Sheesh. Meanwhile, Kosovo has Europe's highest and the world's 4th highest unemployment rate at 26%. And Kosovo isn't even a country anyway, depending on who you ask, because Kosovo has the least amount of recognition for any state in Europe. 50% of UN member states and 19% of EU member states do not recognize Kosovo as an independent nation.
So since they don't see it as an independent nation, who do they think it belongs to? Is that the right way to say it? Like, who owns it? What is Kosovo? What do those people that don't say it's a recognized state? Because I've always heard of it, but maybe that's just because the U.S. recognizes it, and that's why I recognize it, or I don't even know if the U.S. recognizes it.
Most notably Russia, China, India, Brazil, Spain, Ukraine, Romania, and Greece. Now, if you'd like to stop being the worst at something...
That was a great segue for them into their Skillshare ad. And that was the video. I don't know why there's a decent amount of dislikes. I guess it's not too much. I thought that was a good video. Like, it's a like for me for sure. And I'm glad this is only a part 1, because there's a lot more European countries to go. I'm excited for it. I definitely want to watch that. There it is right there. For a second video, I'll just attach it on when I react to it. This was good though. This was, I thought, very entertaining, and it's nothing, overly, in most of these countries, just, it's just statistics and a couple smoking ones, which surprised me, I guess. I guess I do know there's a lot more smoking over in Europe. Here, it's so rare. It is very rare, especially maybe on the West Coast. I'm not sure, in California, because I could go weeks without seeing anyone, any cigarette or smelling smoke or anything like that. Easily days, but yeah, probably weeks. It's very, very uncommon here now, and it's just like dying out more and more. And I know I stopped it a lot and asked a lot of questions, but I am curious as to why some of these are the way they are, like Germany's homeless problem and all the other countries. So if you've been, typing comments throughout or answer a question now, thank you, or dive into a question, or add to what Austria's is, what you would say is their worst aspect, or what they're worst at, I guess, not their worst aspect. I would be very appreciative of that. So let me know. We'll dive into the next one, and we'll look for more of these types of videos. Thanks for watching, thanks for joining, and until next time, have a good rest of your day.